Good morning. I feel a little bit like the Wizard of Oz. I can't see you out there, but we're here in this high-tech place, and I'm really honored to be here and very excited to be talking to you. We've heard some extraordinary partnerships, and we've heard from some extraordinary people, but I don't think this will come as news to you. Not all of us are. Not all of us are extraordinary, and we're human. That's all. And for that reason, I wanted to talk about one element of partnerships that I think is really important, and that's the idea of complementarity. I talk about and think about partnerships as coalitions, maybe with one partner, maybe many partners, and some of the partnerships you've heard about have multiple partners. And at the task force where I work, we've done some looking into coalitions and what makes them work, what makes them fail, what are some of the barriers they run into. And I always like to say that a coalition is just like a marriage. It's very easy to get into, and it's very hard to make it work. Inevitably, I used to get into arguments with people, and I would say this, and there would always be someone in the audience who raised their hand and said, "No, I don't think it's hard work. We never argue, we never fight. It just works perfectly." And like an idiot, I would get into an argument with them. I'd say, that's so different from my experience. How could that really be? But then I finally stopped getting into those arguments when I realized that there's some people who just don't tell the truth. These partnerships are hard work. They are. You know, the Beatles were asked to come up with a song with a message that everyone would understand. And their manager said it was really an inspired song, and they really wanted to give the world a message. And the nice thing about this message, about a song that became really popular, is that it can't be misinterpreted. He said it's a clear message saying that love is everything. And if you know the lyrics, they really do make the point. The lyrics, you know them. All you need is love, all you need is love, love, love is all you need. Then the chorus, love, 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 love. All you need is love, all you need is love, all you need is love, love. Love is all you need. And believe it or not, this may be hard to believe, their song was heard by more people than are hearing this message right here. It became an immediate bestseller. And I do want to say, I don't think in partnerships that love is quite enough. And I'd give you a quote from a French psychologist and psychoanalyst. He's called the most controversial psychoanalyst since Freud. To most of you, that probably doesn't mean very much. But this psychologist, Lacan, said, love is giving something you don't have to someone who doesn't want it. I'll say it again. Love is giving something you don't have to someone who doesn't want it. And what he was trying to focus on is the great disparity between what we really wish for and the imperfect reality of relationships. And this contrast between what we really want and what we really have in a relationship comes as a very crude awakening to all of us, because I think we live with the illusion that somewhere there's that perfect someone who will fill every gap of my soul, who will understand me, endure me, listen to me, give me undivided attention. and attend to my every need. Now, you may say, oh, that's an exaggeration. No one really expects that. But I'd say we all do. Yes, we do, especially when it comes to partnerships. So let's look at that quote and see, what does it really have to do with partnerships? The first half is, love is giving something you don't have. And I would say that every strong partnership begins by recognizing that we, our organization, are not perfect. And we invite our partners to participate in what we'd like to accomplish, but because we're not perfect, we can't accomplish it ourselves. And every partnership will inevitably fail if we don't allow others to see that we have flaws and needs. And our partnerships can only work when we realize we're human and we are fully capable of messing up and messing up royally. The second half of that quote, to someone who doesn't want it. It means that my partners may know that my organization is imperfect, and they may not really want an imperfect self or organization. And in this sense, there will always be demands that aren't quite met in the partnership, and there'll be disappointments in both love and in partnerships. But it's this imperfect equation that really makes it work. So this illusion of perfect love or the perfect partnership that's foisted on us, not just by the Beatles, but at every turn in our culture, it can be a real barrier towards real and productive partnerships. Let's come back to the partnerships we're thinking about, and maybe the partnerships we're going to talk about today, and maybe even start them today. And I would say that the best marriages and the best partnerships are honest, real, and complementary. Partnerships run into all sorts of barriers. And Jim Austin, a friend and colleague, a professor emeritus from Harvard Business School, named them the 7 C's, these barriers and obstacles that come up in the way of partnerships. And he said the 7 C's are culture, cultural differences, conflicting goals, confusion, control, different capabilities, competition, and the costs of really sustaining a partnership. But I would say that it's a complementary partner that gives you the best chance of overcoming these obstacles. It's like in a marriage. I happen to be, and this is my confession, I happen to be a saver. So I save things, I don't throw them out. My wife throws them out. She says she's doing this for me. I say she's doing it to me. But the result of this complementary relationship is we can still move about. And we're not embarrassed to invite friends to our house. There's space to sit down. She says, you would fill every horizontal surface. You think a surface isn't complete unless you've dumped a pile on it. She gets rid of the piles. It's complementary. Or in arguing about the kids, she may think one type of school is the best. I think another type of school is the best. And we argue about it. And we come to a decision. But we've heard both sides. And it works out that's best for the kids to hear both sides. So complementary marriages, complementary partnerships are really good. But it means you'll argue more. You know, I've heard a lot about these marriages where they're perfect and there's no arguments. If you pick someone who's complementary, if you pick a partner who's different from you, you will argue more. So how do you deal with the arguments? Well, I would say everyone thinks that they're an expert, but there's a world of difference between knowing what you want to happen in a partnership and making it happen. Yogi Berra is from my hometown, Montclair, New Jersey, and he got an honorary doctorate at Montclair State College. And when he got his award, Yogi Berra said, in theory, theory and practice are the same. In practice, they're not. In theory, theory and practice are the same. In practice, they're not. We usually think that just getting our partners to the table, having them meet with us, come together, meet everyone we want in this. We think that that's enough. Don't push me, don't force the difficult issues at the beginning. But it turns out that the biggest mistake, the reason that most partnerships fail, is that we fail to deal with the things at the beginning that need to be dealt with. We put them off. We say, we'll come to these things later. What are those things? There's 5 of them. If you address these at the beginning, you have so much better of a chance that your partnership will work. And the first is a goal, a common overriding shared goal. Second, what's your strategy? How are you going to reach that goal? What's the structure? Everyone thinks a big organization needs a structure, but a partnership made of multiple organizations doesn't. It does. You need a structure. Who are your members going to be? You need to agree on the membership. And finally, how you're going to manage it. You need to manage both the meetings and the projects. Good management is really critical. So these things need to be addressed up front. I want to give you an example of a partnership. In 1987, the CEO of Merck, Roy Vagelos, came to the task force, started by Bill Foege. You've heard him mentioned before, by Charlie Stokes. Bill is an extraordinary person, and the CEO of Merck said, look, we have this drug called Mectizan. We make a lot of money by selling it to people who want to use it for their dogs. If you have a dog and you give it HeartGard, HeartGard is Mectizan, and it gets rid of heartworms. You say, this drug does wonders for our pets, for our domestic animals. It gets rid of worms. But we found out that it will also treat and prevent river blindness, a horrendous blinding disease that affects tens or hundreds of millions of people in Africa. He said to Bill Foege, we'll give you as much of this drug for as long as you need until we get rid of river blindness if you just help us distribute it. All of Bill's colleagues said, no, absolutely no, don't do that. Because don't you see, we are good in public health, we do good, but big pharma, they're evil, they work for a profit. Go and tell them no. So Bill Foege went back and told them yes. He saw the good that can come of this, and now with partners that include the Carter Center, CDC, the World Bank, UNICEF, GSK, AFRO, WHO, we've distributed more than 1 billion treatments in huge areas of Africa that had been abandoned because of this disease are now being resettled, and there's even hope the disease will be eliminated totally. It spawned the whole field of pharmacophilanthropy, and at least 3 of these neglected tropical diseases that have been a scourge for centuries in Africa, we now have hope that they will be eliminated. 3 of them may be gone, 3 diseases that affected the poorest of the poor. And new drug donation programs sprang up and followed that with extraordinary philanthropic donations that exceed our ability to ever imagine what might have happened. These programs now will be treating more than 300 million children for intestinal parasites and donating more than $1.5 billion in medicines. And this progress is a result of partnerships. So I see this as a day when we come back to partnerships with an open mind and begin to really explore today our potential partners. Partners here in Atlanta, in Georgia, in the US, partners that we thought we knew, and explore what we might do together with them. And I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes I think is very applicable to today and what I hope will go on. It's from T.S. Eliot in a poem called Little Gidding. He said, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." Thank you.